So I thought I'd just do a little video on scour prevention. They've all been fed this morning, so I don't know why they're shouting at me. I don't get very many with scours at all, really. Only the odd few that'll sort of scour for a couple days and then they're fine again. If they've come in from market, sort of new calves, and they're scouring a little bit, it could just be the change of milk, sort of stress, different calf nuts. So I don't tend to worry about it too much. I'll just water down their milk for a couple of days, add some extra water in, and they're normally absolutely fine again. 3 years ago I did have a calf called Joey who had quite severe coccidiosis, just passing a lot of watery blood for quite a long time. We tried a number of different treatments. He had some antibiotics and Metacam as well. I used to give him every few days just for sort of a bit of pain and discomfort. I also used to wash his backside and down the back of his legs every day with some warm water, with some baby shampoo in and a little bit of baby oil, and then just towel dry him off. And he actually didn't lose any of his sort of fur down the back at all doing that, and he used to really enjoy it. And after his little wash and dry, he'd go and settle down and have a bit of a sleep. So if you are buying calves in from market and they do start scouring after a couple of days, say it could just be a different milk, different sort of concentrate that you're making up of the milk, different nuts, but you can buy scour powders which you can add to their milk or their water from somewhere like Mole Valley Farmers or a farm supply store like that. The other sort of main prevention thing is obviously cleanliness. Their water buckets are washed out 4 times a day, because I actually will empty the water out, then put their milk in, then once they've had their milk the bucket will get washed out again, and then fresh water put back in, so their water buckets are always spotlessly clean every day. That helps a lot. Obviously I keep the shed here very clean and tidy. I mean, it doesn't have to sort of be absolutely spotless, but I do like to keep it clean and tidy. The other thing is, it's always been a bit of what people have always done, whether to feed hay or straw. I am a huge advocate of feeding straw to calves. I actually did quite a lot of research on it when I was advised to feed straw when I started. And the sort of best way that it was described to me was that the straw is a lot coarser than hay, so it actually scratches the inside of their gut, which then produces mucus, which then breaks their food down better. So they're actually going to gain a lot more nutrients from your feed, your hard feed, your calf pellets, because the mucus helps to break those little nuts down, and at this age their rumens and things are still developing, so the straw helps to break everything down. There isn't any sort of nutritional value in the straw at all, but it helps get the most out of what you're actually feeding them. This also can help with the scours as well. Hay can ball up inside their stomachs. You can see some calves that have been fed hay tend to look quite pot-bellied. Their stomachs hang down quite low, and that's because they're not digesting the hay properly. It's sort of just sitting in their stomachs. This will also sort of stop them from eating a good amount of their calf nuts, because they'll feel full because their hay has balled up in their stomachs. Like I said, the straw will just break. He's having a munch on his straw now. Just break everything down, so you'll get the much better results from what you're actually feeding them, because they'll get the full benefit. At this age, they get fresh bedding every single day without fail, to keep them dry and warm. I like it to be quite deep bedding for the calves, as you can see, and we also have the board up to stop drafts. Once they've weaned off the milk, we then put up hay racks and fill those with straw, and they'll be on straw then until they go out in the spring, out into the fields. We might give them a little bit of silage, sort of when they're 4 or 5 months old, once their sort of rumens and everything are fully developed and they're completely on hard feed. At that age, we will have them on beef rearer nuts as well. That's another time that sort of scours can appear, changing their feed. I do, when I go from calf nuts to beef rearer nuts after sort of 10-12 weeks old, I do it over 2 weeks, literally just a handful, couple handfuls every day, just very, very gradually mix those nuts together. This gives them a chance to get used to the sort of different feed, different protein in the beef rearer nuts, and say they don't tend to scour from that either. So I say that's just a few things that I do, which limits the amount of scours that I get here. Very little scours at all, luckily. I say the main thing is their diet, tweaking a few things with the milk powder, just bring it back a little bit, see if that helps. I actually find bringing the milk powder down just slightly from the recommended dose sort of measurement on the bag, and I feed that all the time, because I found that feeding what is recommended on the sort of measurements instructions on the bag, they'll scour. Just bring it back slightly, and they tend to be absolutely fine on it. People know my bullocks grow very well, so obviously I'm still getting the good growth rates, but just bringing that milk powder back just slightly really does help a lot. And cleanliness, keeping things clean and tidy, keeping them clean, keeping their feed buckets, their water buckets clean as possible. I mean, they'll put things in their water and in their feed buckets, but generally if you can keep the water and the milk buckets very clean, you'll limit the amount of any bacteria that sort of might be growing in there. I make the milk up with boiling water, then add cold as well, so I can mix it to a nice warm temperature, but the sort of boiling water going in my big buckets keep them sort of sterilised as well. So that's about all I can think of at the moment. As you can see, they're all quite happy. They've all had their milk this morning. Everybody's drinking very well, which I'm really pleased about. I had quite a poorly calf yesterday. He's got a little rug on over there. He's going to sleep at the moment, but he's been up skipping around his pen absolutely fine this morning. He just had some floor chem and some metacam yesterday, and he's doing absolutely fine today. All right, Steve.